a married woman.
Chomp chomp.
I had the most amazing wedding in Paris. It's so refreshing to be married. I just want to be a wife.
Shaunie O'Neal has finally spoken up after years of not saying anything and throwing shade. Everyone is shocked by what she just said about Jennifer and Christian's fancy wedding. What really happened behind those beautiful wedding photos? Now we know about the betrayal, the hidden anger, and the truth that was never meant to come out.
I do have to travel. First time out of the country together. Listen, we are ready. There was a photo on social media, Jen and I, we were actually traveling to Paris to plan our wedding, and that post was sent to my probation officer.
Stay tuned, because what Shaunie said changes everything about reality TV royalty. Shaunie O'Neal is a powerful producer, the ex-wife of NBA star Shaquille O'Neal, and the person who made Basketball Wives such a hit. But in the last few weeks, her silence has turned into revelation, and it's not just fans who are shocked. Jennifer and Christian may have the most to lose. We're gonna find out what Shaunie really said in this video. It's not what you've heard in the news, I promise. We're learning why Shaunie waited until now, what really happened behind the scenes at Jennifer and Christian's star-studded wedding, and what about the long-buried tension that is now coming to the surface. You'll learn about secret information, hidden drama, and the emotional fallout that has fans picking sides.
Your felon is currently stealing money from people today, tomorrow, yesterday.
Whatever you say.
Did Jennifer end a friendship that had lasted for a long time? Was Christian dealing with something more serious? And why did Shaunie's words seem to mean more than just an opinion? Why did they seem like the last word? You won't believe who tried to make her be quiet and why that silence is over now. This is where things get exciting. At first glance, Jennifer Williams and Christian Gold's wedding looked like a fairy tale. The flowers, the guest list, the designer gown, and the huge reception that had A-listers and influencers buzzing for days were all very fancy. People on social media shared a lot of well-chosen pictures of the couple's first dance, champagne toasts, and heartfelt vows against a sunset that looked like it came from a movie. People on the internet liked the dream wedding, but there was one thing missing: Shaquille O'Neal. That's right, the woman who used to be one of Jennifer's best friends and a mentor in many ways, didn't give her an Instagram shout-out, repost, or even a comment of congratulations. People began to ask, where is Shaunie? People thought she was busy then. People said she was in a different place now. But people who knew her well in the Basketball Wives circle knew better, because Shaunie doesn't do silent shade unless she has a good reason. And now we know she did. Shaunie had been holding back because she was mature, respectful, and in pain. People who are close to Shaunie now say that she felt blindsided not by the wedding itself, but by how it went and what it meant. We should go back. Jennifer and Shaunie have a long and complicated past. They weren't just on a reality show together. People say that Shaunie helped Jennifer a lot as she dealt with her personal problems, like her very public breakup with Tim Norman and other emotional issues. Shaunie took Jennifer under her wing when Basketball Wives first started, but it wasn't on camera. She gave her storylines, attention, and most importantly, safety. When Jennifer's wedding plans became the talk of the town and Shaunie found out about them through blogs instead of a phone call, it was too late. Here's the best part. Sources say that Shaunie wasn't invited at all, not formally, not informally, and not even with a courtesy heads up, for a woman who helped Jennifer build her public persona. This felt like a planned cold snub, but why?
To understand that this is not 1999 anymore. Technology is forward, it's advancing forward. There's kids that make more than me. Like, there's 17, 18-year-old kids. If you can attest to this, you could probably put in the chat that you know this and you've seen this. Just because I'm 31 and she's 48 doesn't mean that she's my sugar mom, right? Once again, we keep talking about this double standard because you guys praise older men with younger women, but when you see an older woman with a younger man, it becomes a problem. Oh, he just out for her money.
That's when the truth starts to come out and things start to go wrong. Shaunie's next words suggest a betrayal that goes deeper than just unfollowing someone on Instagram. Some people might have thought that Shaunie's absence was because of a scheduling conflict, but if you followed these women's journey, you know that there are no coincidences in Hollywood, and especially in reality TV circles. Your guest list is your message, and Jennifer's message was loud and clear. Shaunie O'Neal wasn't welcome, but why would Jennifer leave out someone who helped her career on purpose? Close friends say that it wasn't a last-minute mistake or a broken RSVP chain. It was planned and maybe even strategic. Shaunie recently talked about the real pain of feeling like she was erased from a moment she would have helped plan in a series of conversations. This wasn't just about not getting an invitation, it was about power, control, and how people saw you. Jennifer went from being an underdog on reality TV to a self-made businesswoman trying to change her story over the years.
Nightmare of a trip that I had just got off of.
Oh, like, what's going on?
Vanessa has like this whole file on you. And I'm like, girl, we don't have no secrets.
Right.
And why are you so invested and concerned? Because I'm actually not your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Some say she wanted to do it without anyone from her past ruining her big day, especially not Shaunie, who many still think is the queen of the Basketball Wives franchise. Let's be real. When you've been living in someone's shadow for years, your wedding is more than just a ceremony. It's a way to show the world who you really are. People who know Jennifer say that she wasn't just reintroducing herself, she was also taking back control of her brand, her circle, and her story. Jennifer saw this wedding as a chance to start over with new love, new people, and a new life. Shaunie, on the other hand, was an old version of Jennifer that she had been trying to get rid of for years. People said that her new husband, Christian Gold, was also involved in this change, even though he wasn't a star on a reality show. Christian comes from a world where people control and finance images. People say he didn't like that Jennifer was still connected to her past on reality TV. People say he told Jennifer to stay away from the drama, the tension, and yes, Shaunie and her Basketball Wife's legacy to make her brand better. Christian may or may not have had a direct effect on the guest list, but it was clear that Jennifer's behavior changed as the wedding planning got busier. Shaunie thought this was the last straw because Jennifer had been pulling away from her for the past year. A friend of Shaunie's said she was surprised that she didn't need a front row seat or public praise. She just wanted a phone call, a moment, and a chance to say, "I'm proud of you." But that didn't happen in her most recent comments. Shaunie said that what hurt the most wasn't not being invited to the wedding, it was realizing she had been cut off long before the wedding even happened. This was the moment when this perfect wedding started to fall apart. Long before the wedding, long before the headlines, and even before the final guest list was made. Shaunie and Jennifer's relationship was getting worse and worse until it was over for good. They thought it all happened behind closed doors. People who worked on Basketball Wives say that cameras caught but never aired a private but important conversation between Shaunie and Jennifer. The things that were said in that conversation not only changed the course of their friendship, but they also explained everything that went wrong with the wedding. Let's make it clearer. The producers thought this would be a casual lunch between the two actors who had worked together for a long time. Cameras were rolling and mics were hot, but neither Shaunie nor Jennifer knew what was about to happen that would make them feel bad. Shaunie is said to have gone to lunch with Jennifer to see how she was doing because she had been feeling distant from her for months. But one production assistant who was there said that the conversation quickly became tense. Shaunie asked Jennifer straight out, "Are we all right? Because it looks like you've already cut me out of your life." Shaunie was clearly shocked by what Jennifer said, which is not surprising since she never sugarcoats things. People say she said, "I'm growing, Shaunie. I don't need to be with someone else anymore. I need space to grow, and that means letting go of people who still see me as the person I used to be." At that moment, the energy in the room changed. Shaunie, who is known for being calm, is said to have answered in a calm but sharp voice, "I never tried to hold you back, Jen. I gave you the chance to grow, but if that means forgetting who helped you get there, then maybe you were never really on my side." First of all, what happened next was an awkward silence, a short attempt by the producers to fix things, and then, according to reports, Shaunie took off her mic and left the set. Even though they had all of it, the production team quietly put the footage away. Why? Because both women are strong, talking about it could have ruined not just the show, but the whole brand. But news about what happened started to spread, mostly among crew members and former castmates. The public never saw that moment, but the feelings that came after were real. Shaunie didn't reach out to me after that. She stopped following her on social media, and at industry events, they were polite but distant with each other, and there were hints of shade in interviews. The bridge burned, but it wasn't just the conversation that hurt. It was that Jennifer had really moved on, both personally and publicly, and she didn't plan to take Shaunie with her in her recent comments. Shaunie talked about that moment without saying what scene it was. She said it was the last scene she shot that didn't feel like TV. It felt like saying goodbye. Then after a few months, the wedding took place. Shaunie thought that the performance had reached its peak, But then something else happened. This time, it didn't come from a blog or an anonymous source. It came straight from Shaunie herself, or rather her voice. A few weeks after Jennifer and Christian's wedding, someone leaked a voicemail that Shaunie supposedly left on a friend's phone. It spread slowly at first, but once it got on a few gossip sites, it spread like wildfire. At first, a lot of people didn't believe the audio, but when a verified fan page reposted it with the caption, "Shaunie had time today and she finally said what we've all been thinking," things went crazy. What did Shaunie say, and why was this voicemail so powerful? Let's go through it line by line because it shows how much pain she was in and how this breakup affected her work and personal life. It sounds like someone who has been carrying a silent weight for too long when they sigh at the start of the voicemail. I wasn't going to say anything, but now I'm watching people I helped shine turn around and act like I never existed, like I was just a footnote in their story. Shaunie sets the mood right away. It's not just that you're not included, it's that you're gone. She goes on, "Jennifer can have as many fancy weddings as she wants. That doesn't bother me. It hurts to know that I was there for her when she was at her worst and when she was dragging her name through the mud. Now that she's better, she acts like I never mattered." Fans were really upset by that line because everyone knows that these women have been friends for a long time. Shaunie not only gave Jennifer a chance to speak up, but she also kept her safe when the cameras were on and off. This voicemail showed how hurtful the betrayal was. She continued, "Christian doesn't even know half the battles I fought for her, and maybe he doesn't need to, but she does, and that's what hurts. Knowing she knows and still acted like I was disposable. Now that that's out in the open, things get really strange. I wasn't trying to be her boss, I was trying to be her sister. But maybe the roles I gave her made her feel small. Maybe she didn't like the person who helped her. No matter what, I'm done holding on to ghosts." People on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok quickly started using the quote, "I'm done holding on to ghosts." Fans started to figure out what Shaunie meant. Was she sad about a friendship that had ended a long time ago? Or was this her way of saying she was finally free of people who used her power without saying thank you? The voicemail ends on a serious but grown-up note. "I really want her to be happy, but I don't want to see her again. I just hope she remembers who clapped for her before the cameras did." Who clapped for her before the cameras did? That one line started an online conversation about loyalty, legacy, and how friendships in the entertainment industry are based on business. Shaunie never said for sure if she wanted the voicemail to be public. She never said it wasn't true, and when asked about the message weeks later during a quiet Instagram Live Q&A, she said, "Sometimes the things that aren't meant to be heard still need to be said." Mic dropped. But the real twist is that Jennifer stopped following a lot of people they both knew after the voicemail got out. People thought these were the ones who had shared the message. Christian told her to keep quiet about what was going on because he thought that any public response would only make things worse. But silence is loud, and the longer they stayed quiet, the more people started to guess what was going on. You might think this was just about two old friends, Shaunie and Jennifer, growing apart, but what happened after the wedding was much bigger than anyone could have imagined. It wasn't just a personal problem, it turned into a silent war that tore apart an entire legacy, broke cast loyalties, and showed how weak the Basketball Wives sisterhood really was. Let's go back a little bit. Basketball Wives was more than just another reality show when it first came out. It was a movement. It showed the lives of women who had lived in the shadows of powerful men and were finally coming out into the open. That spotlight was on Shaunie O'Neal. She was not only in the cast, but she also wrote, directed, and produced the show. Jennifer Williams was one of the first people to join the group. She was one of the most interesting people, and even then it was clear how things were going to turn out. She was beautiful, secretive, and always a little mysterious. Shaunie had the strength and Jennifer had the skill. They got along well for years and even got close at times, but those who looked closely could always sense a quiet power struggle going on. Sources close to the production say that since the wedding drama, several cast members have had to choose sides. This split is not just social, it's also professional. Some people who work on the show say that some of the returning cast members were told not to talk about the situation in public because they were worried it would hurt their relationship with Shaunie, especially if they wanted to come back for future seasons or projects. Others, like Evelyn Lozada, have been very quiet, which has led people to think that they are trying to stay neutral or are waiting for things to calm down before doing anything. But things are anything but quiet behind the scenes. A source close to the production said that some scenes from the upcoming Basketball Wives reunion were cut or pushed back because of tension between Shaunie and the other women, Jennifer's problems. People say that two former castmates had a heated argument off camera, with one person defending Shaunie and the other person defending Jennifer. It got so bad that security had to step in. Another shocking piece of news, the people who make the show are said to be thinking about making a spin-off about Jennifer's life after she gets married, but without Shaunie. If that happens, it will be the first time that a main character from the original franchise officially breaks away from Shaunie's influence on screen. That's a big deal, and it gets worse. There are rumors that Shaunie is going to leave the show after being its face and backbone for years. People say she's sick of the politics, the backstabbing, and the switching sides. "I built something powerful and I'm proud of that," she said. But when you start to feel like you're not welcome in the world you made, it might be time to step back. That quote shocked a lot of fans. Fans begged her to stay in the comments, while others said it might be time for the next generation to take over. Jennifer could be the next queen because she just changed her name and got married to a famous person. But what will happen to the base she built if Shaunie leaves? And if Jennifer takes over, can she keep the legacy going without making things worse? One thing is for sure, the balance of power is shifting and both women are in it for the long haul. The fallout doesn't stop with the cast, even the fans are split. Reddit threads and fan pages for Team Shaunie and Team Jennifer have led to the growth of entire online communities. Commentary on YouTube, everyone has an opinion, and everyone is picking a side. People say that Jennifer had every right to start over, take back her story, and move on from the past. Some people think she was very rude to the woman who helped her get to where she is now, and that no amount of fame or success can make up for that kind of betrayal. But the worst part is that this story is about friendship, ego, pride, and pain, and no one comes out of it without scars.